Morning. Hi, so today we've got a couple of cards to make that use embossing powders. These two cards are from the Stampin' Up demonstrator email sending from a weekly email, I think it is, to give us ideas. So the first one is a simple card, but it looks really effective. It uses blending brushes, and as I said, the embossing powder. So today it's on this card, it's a white embossing powder. So let's get started. So we have thick white basic card, and it's a half of A4. Okay, we set that aside and we get started on this. So we're using Versamark, and we're going to stamp onto here using this. So we just stamp the stamps all over. So you can use any stamp that you like, any set of stamps. So I'm using a couple different sets. And it's a little, you have to be very careful about how you're stamping it on. So I'm using leaves, and I'm using, just going to have a look here where to put this so you can slightly see it. So you can stamp on and you can stamp in the middle, just all over. Have a look. So you can slightly see, you probably won't be able to see it on the video, but I can see it in the light here. And I have to do some more leaf stamping, I think. The big leaves, I mean. I've got a little butterfly. Now if you're using red rubber stamps, you just need to be careful that you don't leave a little line. Don't press too hard. That's the only thing about the rubber stamps. Sometimes you can cut them away so the side of them doesn't come up on the... So I'm just going to do this one again, just to fill in a bit of... It's actually quite hard to see. Right, just see if I've got a good coverage on there. That looks pretty good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just pour over the white embossing powder, and then we're going to I haven't got my thing. Here we go. Here's a little to do the embossing powder into. So you just sprinkle it over the top so it catches on all those stamping bits that you've got. Alrighty. Okay, so as you can't sort of see what it's going to look like, but you can see, oh, guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the Stamping Buddy again, but it looks like it's pretty good. So I'm just going to pour this back into the container, because we've got some different embossing powder to use later. Let's get rid of all that. Get a little brush and empty it out. And get that ready for the next thing. Put the lid on. So once you've got the embossing powder on, you don't have to brush so much. And I'm going to two of the heat gun and get ready for this. So I've got my little reverse pinches and I'm going to start so just wait for it to start melting and you can see it goes really okay, it's started now. Right. Okay, once it starts you can just move across. And it goes all shiny. So this is quite a good card to do because you can just use any, as I said before, any set you like. And it's really effective, it's quite stunning. And it depends on what the colours you use to do your brushing with. You can really make it shine. I'm just going to turn it around so oops. So I'm just going to have a little look to see if I've got it all. There's a little bit over here. It's still not done. And I'm going to have a look. No, it's still not done. Okay, I don't think I was firing the gun in the right direction. I'm just going to have another look. There's a little bit here. So it just looks a little bit matte looking. That's how you can tell whether it's done or not. Just have another look. Yep, that's done. So the next bit is really cool. So you just get your ink pads. So I'm using Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, Old Olive and Berry Burst today. So here we go. So you just brush on here, you can't see. I might just put it up a little bit. So you just put your blending brush into here, run it round and round, and then you get some of it off, and then you just go across like this. So it makes it stand out. You can do it either lighter or darker, depending on what you like yourself. Lots of furry bits hanging around here. You see how good that is? I might just put it, actually I might put it down, you can see a bit better. So I'm just going over and over it quite softly, just until I get the right amount of depth of colour. Alrighty, so now shut the ink pad and move on to the Daffodil Delight. Now, I'm not being very good with my blending brushes. They're getting a bit dirty and I haven't got it quite enough for every colour. So I'm just sort of using a mixture of colours here. So ideally you'd have light and dark of each colour, just so that the colours don't get mixed up. So I might just do a little bit more yellow, Digital Delight. Okay, so set the ink pad. There we go. So now I'm going to do Old Olive. So it makes the embossing part of it sort of stand out a bit more. You can see when you do it darker it stands out quite a bit more. So I put a bit darker on the other side there, so I just sort of need to match it up with this, the middle and this other side. So it's better to just put a light layer on so you don't have this variation of colour or shade depth. Right, and last, this is the Berry Burst. Berry Burst is one of my favourite colours. It's funny, like I didn't have this colour for a while, and then I got it, and then I use it quite a bit. And then I got Bill and Mumbo card, and I used that for a lot. So, you know, your colours sort of come and go that you really prefer. And I think it maybe depends on your own personal colour preference. You know how you have spring, winter, autumn colouring personalities. Some of them just really suit you quite well. So what I'm going to do is just wipe off the embossing area, because I found that when I was working with them, I was getting the colour that I use for the ink all over my hands. I'm just wiping it off a little bit. Right, and this next part I found a little bit difficult because it's measuring across, so hopefully I'll get it right. So I'm going to measure 5.1 across. Let's see, we'll do it this way. Where am I? Alright, 5.1, and then I'm going to measure 3.8. Do it this way. Now, what is the other one? That's why I said it was a little bit challenging to find out what it was supposed to be. So okay, it's 5.1. So one side is bigger than the other. Okay, and put them together. Slide you there, and then this one is 2.5, and then the other one is 6.4. So we just need to do this one on the side here, and put them up together. And then this part, you bring in your card base again. I'm just going to put it down. So what I'm going to do is just move it up a little bit. is lay it out on here, just so that you're getting it in the places that you want. And then we're going to put dimensionals on the back. So just keeping an eye on this. Right. Okay. Right. I think I've done it wrong here, but we will keep going. I will, so you get the effect of it. Okay, so I'm just going to snip this down a little bit. Like I said, I had a bit of trouble with it. And I'll just chop that down at the top a bit. I'll do the same with this one. Okay, we're going to have to chop that down quite a bit. Okay. Just a little bit more. Ooh, you can hear the fire engine racing down the street, beeping his horn. Right, I'm just going to cut that down a sliver. Normally you wouldn't have this much trouble, but it always happens when you're doing videos. Okay, so we are ready to go there. So get my dimensions out and start putting this together. So I've got a little bit of a bigger edging to the card here. Where are we? Keep you in view there. Just going to cut these down a little bit so I don't waste them. Alrighty, there we go. Yes, here we go. Just place it on there. And then we put the split on as well. Oops. Now these little dimensionals, you find the bits of them all over the place. And you're forever vacuuming them up. Yet they get down to the kitchen, into the other bedrooms. Yeah, boy. You think you got them all cleaned up, and then you find some more, and they stick to you. I've heard of people even finding them in their garden. So it's quite funny, isn't it? So here we go. Put this bit in here. And then it's a little bit lopsided. Spin it around a little bit. Yikes. And then we put on the message on it, or the sentiment. So I've used this one from another set that's no longer available. It's probably quite an old set. And I really love this message. And it says, celebrate everything beautiful. Okay, put it in the middle there. And we are going to do embossing again. Go. And again, I forgot to do the embossing buddy, so I've got lots of bits sticking to this. Go. This back into here. It's actually quite a good thing to wash your, I forget what you call this thing, out before you use it with another colour of embossing powder, because it can get into the, I guess you call it, contaminate the other colours if you're using it. Alright, and on with this, put that on to heat up, and get my little tongs. These are really useful because they're reverse tongs, so you don't have to press hard. It's all, yeah, I think it's right there. And then we just pop this up on dimensionals to the card. And sort of, this is a little bit outsider too. Just pull it over a bit and put your sentiment on here, and then lastly put your embellishments on. Sometimes I forget to do this. Using your picking up thing. And put it that. So I'm doing a big and a small one. Big and a small one over here. You could use any colour with this. I'm using the 2024-26 in coloured recent dots. And a big one down here. Oops. Put them down. It's not coming off very easily. So you try and get the embellishments in sets of odd numbers, and that seems to make it look quite good. So there's our first card. So you would do much better than I did and put those bits in the better place, but you can see that it's quite good. Very easy to do. Alright, so I'll just get my other lot of cards set up. Put everything back, okay guys? And just leave those there. We're doing, put your scissors back and another set of things ready. Alright, so the other card is like this. Okay, so in the instructions they've used etched autumn, so that's leaves. So I've used a different set, changing leaves, so you can use any set you like that's got a sort of a floral or a leafy pattern. Alright. You can use any kind of sentiment you like, depending on how big you want it. I'm not quite sure what kind of embellishments I'm going to use yet, so I'll just make the card up and then we'll figure that out as we go. Alright, I've got lots of different so I'll tell you what I've used on this. So the cutouts, which I've got here, I've used it from the Changing Leaves, and the sentiment I've used Sending Happy Thoughts from Wildflower Designs, and the rest of it I've used Spotlight on Nature. So Spotlight on Nature is in the Last Chance area. So if you're keen on getting that, you need to get in these straight away, otherwise you'll miss out. So this one you can make 2 cards out of. So the dimensions of the measurements for the card base are a little bit different to what I would usually use. Whoops, I've got some ink on that. So the card base is 21.6 centimeters by 14 centimeters. So if you want to, you could, to save yourself card, you can just use your A4 and just adapt it. Okay, so we've got that, and then we've got the two-tone olive, and I'm using two-tone cherry cobbler. So they've got a light and a dark side. So we're using the light side today, and we're stamping all over it. It's going to take a little bit longer. I'm going to use, so it's actually easier on this card to see what we're stamping, because we're going to use clear coloured embossing powder. And as I said with the other one, you have to be careful with these red rubber stamps that you don't get the edging on them. I'm just going to flick it over to the light. I'm going to put it in here. Beautiful butterfly. And I've used a crosshatch from the stamp Spotlight on Nature, and also the, I don't know what you call these, splodges. So I'm just holding it up to the light so I can see it a little bit. What will I do there? Okay, I'll just put that in there too. And over there. Then I'm going to put that on my stamp pad. Here's my clear on this one. Put it in your little tray. Just sprinkle it over. Alrighty. Okay, you can see that there. And we're going to do the cherry cobbler one. I'll just make sure I got it on the right side. So we put the lid on this. Otherwise their stuff will go walkies. Alright, so I tend to do the bigger stamps first and then fill it in with the little ones. Alrighty, here we go. And their beautiful butterfly. So I'm not sure if you can see how it shows up. Yep, you can. And do a crosshatch, middle here. Let's pull it down a little bit. And then splotches and dots. Put your lid on the vessel mark, and now we're going to sprinkle over our okay, so I'm just going to shake it off, and I'm going to see how much coverage I got on there. And I've got a little bit of, see, in this bit here, I've just caught the side of the red rubber stamp. Okay, looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So, here we go. This is the cool part of it. Just put this back into here. What did you do with my that. And put the lid on these things. And then we'll get onto the heating. Alright, so put that on to heat. Just let this set a little bit. Alright. It's my reverse tones, what do you call them? Put it on here. And when you do the clear embossing, it sort of disappears a little bit. Alright, so the next part of this is that you use your blending brushes to put ink colour on it. Just get this done first and leave it to dry a little bit. So the clear embossing powder seems to heat up a bit quicker than the white. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just a little bit thinner. Alright, and then we'll get the cherry cobbler one done. So the cherry cobbler one has got, ooh, I'm just going to have to get those little bits off there. Just check the rest of them out. Yep, I've done it on just about every one. Crazy, eh? Anyway, that's a lesson for you. So let's just be careful with the red rubber stamps because I've got one here as well. Get a little brush out, that would be better, wouldn't it? Right, there we go. So that's be careful, it gets a little bit hot. Okay, just have a quick look over, got everything there, and whew. Okay, so what we do is cut this from corner to corner. So what I did is line it up along the cutting line, and I put my cutter in the middle. We're going up and then we're going down. put those to the side, and we get the cherry cobbler one. So with this you can make 2 cards out of one. So we just check, got it in the right place, and go up and then go down. Alright, so with the card here, when I originally made this, you can see here that there's a little bit of a gap there, because I stuck the side on first and then tried to match this up. So what we're going to do is put this side on first, and then if there's any gaps, then we can just bevel it up to the edge and then cut from the other side of his leftover gaps. I'll show you what I mean when we do it. Okay, so just try and get to the edge there so it lies flat when you put it on the card. Switch it over. So just move it down a little bit. So just bevel it up to the corner. And it's quite good to use the glue on this, so you can just move it a little bit. There you go, so you get it right up to the edge. Press it down. Oh, I didn't actually do the blending on this one. Now I found when I did it originally, the cherry cobbler disappeared and the things disappeared into it. So I'm just going to do it without doing the oopsie daisies. So I have done this not the right way. So that would happen, wouldn't it? So I should have cut it on the other side. Anyway, we'll keep going and you get the general idea. Yeah, things like this always happen when you... Okay, I'll learn that for next time. So you just bevel it up to the edge here, and then you don't get the gap in the middle, but it seems to have worked quite well this time. Just got a little bit of a gap down the side there, so I might just trim that down with scissors. It might have been easier just to do it with a trimmer. Yep, I'll do it with my trimmer. Now it's all crooked. Oh, Jesus. There we go. And then we'll just check the other side, so that needs a little bit of trimming too. Right, so what I might do is just do the it's very funny how that went like that. So I'm going to use this other one here that I did from the other day, and I'll just put that on instead. Right, work that out. So this one has been used the blending brush to put Old Olive on it, but I found that the cherry cobbler didn't come out so well. Here we go. There we go. Push it into there. Yeah. And then the next part of it, we put this on here, this square. With dimensionals. Right, in the middle-ish. There we go. And then we're going to do the circle in the middle. So what I did is I put my little cutouts onto the circle. So we've got these little, I think they're berries or something. So just put glue down here. Oops, it's quite a lot there. And we put them on first. And I sort of did it sort of vertical, so up and down more, so it doesn't go off the edge of the card. So you might need to check every now and then to make sure that your cutouts are not flowing over the side of the card. I'll show you like this. So I'm just checking to see what it does on the picture. Okay, and I might just get, oh, I've got my put this on here. I was looking for my little glue thing. Not sure what I've done with it. So just put a teeny weeny bit of glue on. Okay, and just lay it up there. Alright, I'll just check that it's still in the right place. Okay, now with my original I didn't put so many cutouts on, but I think it looks pretty good with a variety of colours and stuff. See, my hands are quite sticky now. And this one. Oops, get a bit zealous with this. Okay, we're still in the picture there. Just wondering if I can put that one there, but I might put it behind this one, like that. Just so you get a mixture of colours. This is a little bit tricky here. And let me put the yellow one down. Not sure if I'm going to put it to which side I'm going to put it to, but we'll just have a little look to see where it will go best. Okay. So this card involves a little bit more. I think that was it there, wasn't it? So I'll just put this one here too. Just plonk it in there. Oops. Okay, let's get it from this side, and what can I use? My scissors to push it down with. Alright, so there's, oops, this is a focal point. And then we pop it up with dimensionals. And I'm sticking all over the place. Yep, I'm getting myself into a sticky mess here. Is it off? Yes, it is. Okay, now we are going to put the sentiment on, and here we go. So I changed my thoughts about what stamp to put on, so we'll just see if it goes out. So I've got sending happy thoughts, the wildflower set. So see there, sort of stamps on the edge, so you're going to have to be careful about stamping down. So just put it on there very carefully and up. So yeah, that worked out good. Just going to clean that off in case I put my hands on it or something. So just to remind you that the red rubber stamps are becoming obsolete, so they won't be on the offering anymore after, I'm not sure how long it's going to be for, maybe the end of the year it's starting. So you just cut it off in a slant, and I might just trim that down there too, and then put these up on. Dimensionals. Just see. So we might need to use 2 dimensionals up down here on the end here. Sorry, X. On the end here we might need to use 2 dimensionals because we've got quite a few layers going through. So what you do is you just put your dimensionals on, whip off the end one there and put another one on top of it. It's just so the sentiment doesn't get a little bit bent. Alright, here we go. We are. And there we go. Beautiful card. Eh? There we go. So that's 2 cards from the Stampin' Up company that sent out to the demonstrators. That can be very easy to do. I know I forgot to put some embellishments, which is kind of normal for me. But so I've got these ones here. They're called Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink. So I'm going to use the Pretty in Pink ones because they're quite, they just slightly, a slight blush there. Yikes. Yeah, and a couple more. Just looking at the picture here. Get them in the right place. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, it just finishes it off. Alright, so we'll see you again next week. I'll be putting up some information about the joining as a demonstrator. There's a special sign up offer, and also the World Card Making Day, and I'll put them up over the next few days. Okay, we'll catch you later next week at the same time. Thank you.